Over the last 14 years, The Weeknd has managed to become one of the biggest artists in the world. He has dropped some of the most popular hit songs in recent times that have allowed him to gather a massive die-hard fan base. One thing many fans of The Weeknd have noticed is the dark, gloomy imagery that surrounds most of his work. Since the beginning years of his career, this dark imagery has been present, but as the years have gone by, it's only gotten darker and darker and darker. If you watch his music videos and performances, they seem to tell a dark, twisted story. It is a story of a celebrity who has lost himself in darkness chasing after fame. Recently, that story has reached its climax as The Weeknd reveals to the world he's trapped in his fame. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos every other day exposing the truth. In today's episode, we will be talking about The Weeknd. Let's get right into it. There is no doubt in anyone's mind that The Weeknd is one of the biggest stars of recent time. Transitioning from the shy alternative dark R&B sound he started his career with to this pop superstar who pumps out poppy mainstream hits, The Weeknd's evolution through the years was leading up to this very moment. The superstar his day one fans barely recognize. He told his fans this himself in his song Rolling Stone, alerting his fans years ago of this coming change that he knew was inevitable. Abel knew he didn't just want to be another singer who would eventually be forgotten. He wanted to be a forever star, an icon whose name would be spoken about for years to come. In that Rolling Stone song, The Weeknd told his fans almost like a prophecy that he was going to have to sell out to become the star he envisioned himself as. He knew he would have to cross over and abandon everything that made him authentic. While on the surface level, this was all a reference to the Hollywood transformation all artists go through. But when examining all of his imagery and metaphors, you can't help but notice there's a deeper message to it all. A message that no doubt seems spiritual and clearly refers to the price The Weeknd knew he would eventually have to pay to arrive at the position he is in today. In the Rolling Stone music video, you can see it in his face. The video, accompanied by the lyrics, clearly shows The Weeknd remorseful for what he had done and what he was going to become. Years ago now, one of my first videos on this channel was a video on The Weeknd. I made this video connecting all of The Weeknd's music videos together and exposed the story they were clearly stating. It was a story of a lost soul, a man who for the world was willing to give up his soul. After selling his soul and gaining the world, he realized that none of it filled up the emptiness he was left with. In his music videos and songs, he made it clear that he indeed was going through this dark transformation that was outside of his control, a transformation that was being orchestrated by some spiritual outside force. Now, The Weeknd has dropped a new set of videos that tells us this story even more vividly than his previous videos. A story that not only shows The Weeknd admitting he gave his soul for this, but shows us how he's being tormented by the demons that has consumed his soul. In today's episode, we will be looking at The Weeknd's catalog of videos and breaking down the dark, twisted story it tells us. Now, the first video that's important to this story is this animated video he dropped a few months back. The video was called "There Are 3 Chapters to This Tale." This is important as it's telling us The Weeknd's story of him becoming a star and losing his soul has 3 chapters. This video starts by showing a scene from The Weeknd's Heartless music video. This means this story starts with his album After Hours and the videos he made for it. Like I said before, I connected all of these videos and they tell a dark story. We then see he shows us a scene from his Sacrifice music video, which is from his album Dawn FM. This means that his Dawn FM album and the music videos for that album are the second chapter to this story, with the last chapter of this story being based on his new album, Hurry Up Tomorrow. Now let's connect these stories and check out the music videos The Weeknd made for each one of these chapters to determine exactly what he was openly telling the world. In order to truly understand this story, we must see it through a spiritual lens. The imagery and lyrics are clearly pointing to something deeper than the obvious. His After Hours album and videos tell the story of The Weeknd losing himself in his fame and allowing the darkness to take control, giving himself to the darkness that has surrounded his life on his pursuit of fame. We see him full of despair, pretending to enjoy himself with the superstar life, but still, you can see a sadness in him, an overpowering darkness. The music videos that seem to tell this story are Heartless, Blinding Lights, After Hours short film, In Your Eyes, Until I Bleed Out, Snow Child, Too Late, and Save Your Tears. In these videos, he makes it known that his darkness isn't only physical, but clearly spiritual. He shows us this in many ways, using religious imagery and depictions of devils. For instance, in his Heartless video, after he's shown indulging in sin, there's a scene that shows him licking a toad, which makes him hallucinate. We see him show us the darkness that has taken over him. After he licks the toad, they briefly show a 2-second shot of the devil in a car. I slowed it down, and here you can see a man in a red tint with horns on his head sitting in a car. Right after this, it shows The Weeknd running away as if he was trying to run from the devil. This indicates that The Weeknd wants to depict his battle with fame as a spiritual and demonic battle, which said a lot about how he sees his life. There is more visual evidence that The Weeknd is referring to this darkness being spiritual and demonic in his After Hours short film. In this short film, we see The Weeknd performing before he leaves the performance with a disturbing look on his face. This is also an honest representation of the duality with his fame. While he's performing for the crowd, he pretends to be happy. When he's alone, he's being tormented by his demons. An honest representation of what fame truly looks like. You must always pretend to be happy, even when inside you're miserable. After leaving the performance, he then makes his way to the subway, and at a certain point, he is seen stopping with a red glow shining on him all of a sudden. He then looks up, and the same effect that is shown when he licked the toad and saw the devil happens again. After having this hallucination, he's then shown being dragged around by some invisible force. This is again referring to what he is battling inside, being spiritual and demonic. This demonic spirit he was running away from in his Heartless music video catches up to him in his After Hours short film. We then see The Weeknd going through a change, depicting himself as if he's getting possessed in the end of the After Hours short film, which leads into the In Your Eyes video, where The Weeknd seems to lose control and something evil takes over him. The rest of the After Hours video show The Weeknd going through a dark transformation. It depicts how he's trapped by his fame and is nothing but a puppet of the elite who own his label. How even after his death, the elite will still be in control of his image. This is demonstrated after he's killed in the music video to Save Your Tears, where even after his death, he's used by the elite to perform at one of their balls. In his Save Your Tears video, he's depicted performing at a ball for what is clearly the elite. Interestingly enough, the devil he was running from in previous videos is shown sitting in a corner of the ball, showing The Weeknd wasn't able to escape the devil. The first chapter of this tale clearly displays this spiritual battle that's connected to his megastardom, something The Weeknd has been showing since the beginning of his career, as in his I Can't Feel My Face, Tell Your Friends, and The Hills videos, he demonstrates selling his soul for fame and fortune. In I Can't Feel My Face, which was his biggest hit of the time, we see The Weeknd performing in a bar. He's depicted singing his heart out, but barely anyone was paying him any attention. A mysterious man walks in, who's clearly meant to represent the devil. He then makes eye contact with The Weeknd before literally lighting his career on fire. This devil flicks a lighter at The Weeknd, and he erupts in flames, and the crowd begins to dance and worship him. The Weeknd is then shown running out of the bar to a crossroad where he can be seen selling his soul to the devil in the Tell Your Friends video. This is depicted when he is shown burying himself. This was meant to represent a death and rebirth, something done by occultists to represent the moment of rebirth and enlightenment. The Weeknd then kills the devil before leaving him behind and driving off. In the Hills video, The Weeknd is shown having a terrible accident. When he's able to escape the car, he then walks to a home where the devil is waiting for him, depicting how he can't escape his deal. This was Abel showing us his price for fame, something he's choosing to show the audience openly using spiritual symbolism. Symbolism that is honestly revealing his price for fame. The After Hour videos were a representation of the spiritual battle, showing how he couldn't escape the darkness of the devil who gave him everything. His battle with his inner demons and the demons of the industry continues in the second chapter of this tale, his Dawn FM album. The Dawn FM album has these same spiritual ideas, with The Weeknd continuing to display this spiritual battle. The storyline continues in the Take My Breath video, one of the lead singles from his Dawn FM album, and the first video he dropped for that album. In this video, The Weeknd again seems to be living the life of a superstar like it was shown in Heartless, partying, using substances, and surrounding himself with women. This very thing, like in the Heartless video, leads to his eventual demise. He is lured by a woman he is lusting over who knocks him out, and he is then abducted. One important detail that again connects this video to his Heartless video is the fact that he was wearing a toad ring, like the toad he licked in the Heartless video before the devil started chasing him. The story continues in the Sacrifice video, where The Weeknd is shown waking up on the dance floor before being taken by a cult. In the Sacrifice video, the toad ring is again shown. The cult then takes him to their lair, where The Weeknd is forced onto a wheel with the cult symbol on it. A woman in red, the leader of the cult, appears and begins to take The Weeknd's soul. This woman is supposed to represent the Scarlet Woman. In occult groups like the Lima, the Scarlet Women are always depicted leading the ritual called the Gnostic Mass. He's then sacrificed by the cult as the woman in red absorbs his soul and The Weeknd shrivels up and turns old. In this video, we again see the hallucination effect that was shown in the Heartless video after licking the toad, showing this is all connected. In the next video, Gasoline, The Weeknd is shown as an old man after the woman stole his soul. He is then shown crashing his car. This video was rather interesting, and this scene right here makes me think that this was a reference to Back to the Future. But I'm not quite sure about this since he's not in a DeLorean. In this video, The Weeknd is seen in his old age, which connects back to the Sacrifice video. In the Sacrifice video, his soul was stolen, and it caused him to rapidly age. The old Weeknd walks into a club, packed with people sinning. The people are shown looking demonic and evil while partying. While the old Weeknd is walking, he spots what appears to be his younger self. When the younger Weeknd spots the older Weeknd, he sees him as a demonic figure and begins to attack his older self. This all seems to be happening in his head or in a spiritual realm, as in one scene, a portal is shown on the ground with people being shown in what appears to be another dimension, indicating this is happening either in his mind or a spiritual dimension. The story continues in the Out of Time music video. At the end of the video, the old Weeknd once again catches up to the young Weeknd. The old Weeknd grabs the young Weeknd and they show a moment of commotion when out of nowhere, the old Weeknd wakes up being operated on by Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey is seen placing a mask over his face. The next part of the tale is shown in The Weeknd's animated video for How Do I Make You Love Me, one of the stranger videos of the series. This video continues right after what is shown in Out of Time, as he wakes up laying in an operation room where he's struggling to escape. In the video, they show this demon woman or a man, which looks oddly similar to the devil. He showed this in his I Can't Feel My Face video. The Weeknd is shown with butterflies coming out of his mask. This was truly interesting because butterflies are used as a symbol for MKUltra, with The Weeknd literally having butterflies flying out of his face. The Weeknd desperately tries to escape, but his arm is teared off and a baby arm is exposed. The Weeknd then manages to leap out the window, falling on the street. He then begins to get chased by a giant butterfly, again displaying the Monarch MKUltra symbolism. The Weeknd eventually sees a woman he's in love with, but when he kisses her, she turns into a giant version of himself. He escapes into a sewer and makes his way to the girl he's in love with that he is shown with in the last video. As he makes his way to the woman, he starts to fall apart. He's shown bashing his head on the front of the door before he's shown like a zombie. The Weeknd then sheds and turns into his younger self. This was one of the creepier videos, but this theme continues. His next video, Is There Someone Else?, shows him again with the mask, watching the younger version of himself. When he goes to investigate, he realizes there's no one there. This seems to be a filler video, but this music video ends chapter 2 of his story. In this chapter, we saw the same themes depicted in the first chapter, amplified. The Weeknd is showing himself taken by a satanic cult who stole his soul. This is obviously related to the actions he committed in I Can't Feel My Face, where he sold his soul for fame and fortune. The devil has come to collect his soul with the coat. He is then forced under some kind of mind control or mind-altering experiment depicted by showing him in the hospital with the butterflies flying out of his face. The Weeknd tries to escape but is unsuccessful because he can't escape his fate. This leads us to chapter 3 of this tale, his latest album, Hurry Up Tomorrow. The first video we need to take a look at is this video for The Abyss Gazes Into Your Eyes, where we are shown the young Weeknd holding the mask that was shown at the end of his How Do I Make You Love Me video. This video shows his child self being tormented by demons and how this was always his fate. They show us all the parts of this tale that we've already covered, ensuring us this is all connected. Now the third chapter of this tale starts with his video Dancing in the Flames, where again, the Weeknd is shown trying to escape the devil and his deal for fame. While driving away, he ends up crashing into a truck. The Weeknd flies out of the car before walking towards a light in the distance. He then passes out and is then put in the back of an ambulance. The next video that continues the story is Crying for Me, as it shows him in a dreamlike state with demons around him. A woman is shown oozing black goo out of her eyes, crying as he seemed trapped in his thoughts. He is now shown wearing a cloak like members of the cult that had abducted him. The next part of the story is told in his Open Hearts video, where the Weeknd wakes up in an ambulance from the car accident. While in the ambulance, we notice that this isn't a regular ambulance, as demonic entities are shown in the ambulance, indicating that he couldn't escape them. Instead of being taken to the hospital, he's taken to his concert, where he's performing wearing this cloak with glowing eyes, indicating that he's possessed by these demons, something he showed us all the way back in his After Hours short film. The Weeknd is shown with the moon behind him and the crowd worshipping him. As the video comes to an end, it states the end. But this isn't the end of the story though, as we still have 2 more videos to look at. In the Weeknd's video for his song Red Terror, we see the Weeknd and his child form again. In this video, we are shown the child Weeknd discovering the demon that has been tormenting his whole life. He is depicted attempting to run from this demon, admitting this in the lyrics of the song when he sings, "All my life, he's been running from the terror." In one scene, they show him touching the demon before being reborn, showing us that this spiritual battle has been going on since his childhood. This chapter of the tale ends with the video, "Remember to enjoy the light before it's all gone," another animated video that connects to the Red Terror video. In this video, the Weeknd is shown reunited with his child self. He tells his child self to ask him anything. The child Weeknd asked him if he grew up to be happy, with the Weeknd responding sometimes, clearly indicating that he's not. As you can see, this is the Weeknd shown at the end of his Open Hearts video. The Weeknd that has been consumed by the demons he was trying to escape. This is depicted when he is shown with his eyes glowing. The Weeknd is letting us know that since a child, he has been battling this demonic entity, with the Weeknd now showing us what happened to him after giving in. The story being told in all 3 chapters of this tale is a dark, twisted representation of the Weeknd selling his soul for fame and fortune, how he was tempted by the devil since a young child, which he tried to run from. When he was older and desperately wanted fame, he gave in and stopped running, a decision that haunted him for the rest of his career. After acquiring fame, the demons attached to that fame became too much for him to deal with, so he tried running from it like he did as a child, but he could never get away because he was already trapped. Whenever he felt like he had escaped, the demons always found him and brought him back. He showed himself being tormented by demons and wanting it all to end. These videos reveal that the Weeknd has been begging to be saved from his decision when he was younger, something he made clear in his song Give Me Mercy, where he seems to ask God for forgiveness. In the song, he tells us he's having a conversation with God by saying that he's speaking to the sky. He makes it clear he is asking for mercy for selling his soul and giving himself to the devil. In the intro of the song, he sings, "Conversations with the sky, mercy on my soul, things I should have known, master of deceptive lies, made me vulnerable, left me all alone. As you can see, he's asking God for mercy as he was tricked by the devil's promises of fame and fortune, calling the devil the master of deceptive lies, and admitting that he didn't give him nothing but loneliness. In the next part of the song, he sings about losing his way and losing his faith, fighting his temptations and being tricked with the devil who promised him a false paradise. He sings, "Every time I lost my way, I lost my faith in you, fighting my temptations, put my body through abuse. Devil tricks with paradise, none of it is true, fighting for your light." In the next part of the song, he sings about being defeated and still begging the Lord for forgiveness, singing, hoping that it's worth all the bleeding when I'm defeated. Give me mercy like you do, and forgive me like you do. Hope that you see me when I'm depleted. Give me mercy like you do, and forgive me like you do. In the next part of the song, The Weeknd sings about giving his fame and fortune all away just to be saved and wanting forgiveness. He sings, "Ghost of my sins passing by, eyes without a face, with nothing to say, placing judgment on my crimes. Give it all away just to feel your grace." In the next part of the song, he admits that he was tricked into thinking his paradise came through what the devil could offer him, which was sin. But he admits that he needs the Lord to be saved, singing, "Every time I lost my way, I lost my faith in you. Fighting my temptations put my body through abuse. You're my only paradise. Now I know it's true. Fighting for my light." In this song, The Weeknd is telling us what all these music videos were trying to tell us. The Weeknd is admitting he sold his soul for fame and fortune and is now begging to be forgiven, begging to be rescued from this evil, as he has tried to escape on his own but couldn't. I can't help to think this is related to him announcing his retirement, claiming that he will retire the Weeknd name and be going as Abel from now on. All of these videos shows us that the Weeknd always ends up back in his sinful ways in the life the devil gave him to be able to use him to destroy others like himself. Whether this song was genuine or just done for artistic reasons, that's up to you to decide. But I know that he took all these years out of his life to tell his story, and it has to mean something. It is a story of a lost soul who is trying to make his way back to the light, God, while the devil continues to torment him. I believe the Weeknd is telling us he's trapped in a prison, showing us he can't escape. In his recent Grammys performance, we see this imagery once again, surrounded by the women in red who stole his soul, letting us know this isn't just a story in his music videos, but what's happening to him in real life. He has lost it all trying to gain the world and can't escape his fate. But if he really turns to God like he claimed, all that he has done could be forgotten. This tale is a warning to others like The Weeknd, who want fame so desperately they're willing to sell their souls for it. He showed us what it cost him in the end, letting us know from his own mouth that none of it was worth it in the end. In Rolling Stone, he warned his fans about selling his soul and crossing over. Now in his Hurry Up Tomorrow album, he's telling his fans to cry for him, as he has nothing left to give. Well, I'm gonna end this one here. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.